People ask me all the time, Marcel, tell me, where is the best place in Indonesia to date women? Which city, which province? I'm traveling to Indonesia in a few months, but I don't know where to start. Is it Jakarta? Is it Bali? Please tell me. And this is the topic of today's video. Today I will talk about why I think that Jakarta is a great place for dating, as I have pointed out in many of my videos. Just recently I had a chat with someone who lives currently in Bali. He is an American guy, he is from the States, and I chatted with him, and he also told me about his very positive dating experiences in Jakarta, where he actually never dated before. So I was curious and asked him, so tell me, what did you experience? What was it like? Did you like it, or did you hate it, or whatever? Did it suck? But no, he said he made very, very good experiences in Jakarta, and this is what we're gonna talk about in this video. Why Jakarta is a great dating place. And before I do that, I just wanna share with you another thing here. I'm pretty sure that you have heard about the economic principle of that markets are rationed. I don't know whether you heard about it or not, but there is an economic principle which says that all markets are rationed. That means that demand does not equal supply. And we can see that, for example, in the job market, right? I'm a chef, you know, if some new hotel is opening up somewhere soon, then you have one hotel, you have one executive chef position, but you have probably dozens of applicants for that position. And I know how it is these days, because the jobs for expatriates in Southeast Asia become less and less for different reasons I will not go into here today. But I also know about the situation, and I know how tough it has been the past few years. Yeah. Or another example is bank lending, you know. Everybody wants money, everybody needs money, right? But does everybody get money? Not really, right? Because who is in control of lending? It's the banks, right? And if you go to the bank and you say, I want $500,000, the bank might don't want to give you that amount of money, right? So there you can see who is actually on the short side. It's the short side principle, right? So whichever quantity of demand or supply is lower, this guy or this company or whoever it is on the short side. Yeah? And the short side picks with who to do business with. And this is the same situation in Jakarta. At least in Jakarta, but also in entire Indonesia. Yeah? The Indonesian dating market is rationed. And guess who is on the short side? It's you, the expat, yeah? The foreigner. It's us. Yeah? We are on the short side, so therefore we can pick with whom we want to do business with, right? And I just wanted to point that out, because this is also the situation in Jakarta, and this is what the gentleman I talked to just recently also confirmed, because I wanted to know what he thinks about that. And he also said that what he noticed is, and also what he the information he got by talking to these Indonesian women is that, you know, most of these expatriates, these expats, these foreign workers, guys who are working in Jakarta, these women don't really have access to these guys because they seem to live in a bubble, the so-called expat bubble. this is a problem for different reasons, but I just want to talk about one aspect here. And so that even limits the amount of foreigners who are actually visible and accessible to Indonesian women, and even further, right? Because, you know, these expats, they work in their corporations. They don't have a 9-to-5 job. They have a 9-to-9 job, or maybe 8-to-10 job. You know, they start 8 o'clock in the morning and finish 10 p.m. sitting the whole day in their office, busy with meetings and this and that, or traveling to other places. Yeah, and after work, they have their driver who drives them home to their nice apartment in some business district, you know. And then then they go sleep, and the next day the whole routine repeats. You know, how is it? Rinse, wash, repeat, or something like that. Like wash, rinse, repeat, or something like that, right? So anyway, and I can tell you, when I lived in Jakarta for a short while, it was exactly the same story. I was working for a 5-star hotel in Jakarta, and I was really well taken care of by my company. And as a chef, you know, you don't work 9-to-5, you work 7-to-11, you know, 7-11, exactly, sometimes. But most of the time you work 12 hours. And then I lived in Semanggi, which is a business district also there in Jakarta, somewhere in the city center. I was picked up 7 a.m. in the morning by our chauffeur, our driver. He drove us to the hotel, and I spent the next 12 hours in that hotel, and then I was tired. The driver brought us home. So, you know, you don't see much, you know. And the other expats as well. And if you don't want to socialize, or if you don't socialize, then you are living really in a bubble. So this is another problem for another reason, because why are you going to a foreign country if you then just want to, you know, and these expats, they only socialize also with other expats, and that's another problem. But long story short, so you need to socialize, you need to want to socialize also, and not just only stay in your expat bubble. Even you work very long hours, you have to make sure you balance it out on your off day, you know, to socialize with local folks, with local women, with the local Indonesian people, right? Otherwise you will stay in your expat bubble, and that would be a great pity. But the guy I talked to also confirmed that he was amazed by the sheer amount of beautiful, attractive, sweet and smart, educated Indonesian women he met and got to know. Women with good jobs, you know, but there is this undersupply of men in Jakarta, what I just mentioned, and yeah, they stay in their bubble, and the women have no access to these men. So therefore Jakarta is great dating terrain, as I think, and you need to think of your strategy, what you want to do. If you want to give it a shot, if you want to give it a try. And we both agreed during our chat that actually Jakarta is a secret tip. Yeah, in terms of dating, absolutely, I agree. Although I know Jakarta is not really on top of the list for many guys, also not for me, because of the city, the infrastructure there, the traffic, the noise, the pollution. I know that Jakarta turns off many guys. They don't want to live there, I know that. But now with this video, I want to change your mind a little bit. At least in terms for dating, you should give it a try, because there is a great pool of women, and it would be a pity if you would ignore that, right? Jakarta, you have to understand, of course, is the largest city in Indonesia. It's the capital city, and therefore you have entire Indonesia within this city. You have people, women and men from all provinces in Indonesia. I think Indonesia as a country is stretching 5,000 kilometers from east to west, and about 2,000 kilometers from north to east, something like that. So you have a great variety of all the different ethnicities in Jakarta, but you also have big business in Jakarta, you have big banks, you have big corporations, you have international 5-star hotel chains, the hospitality industry, you have a lot of government offices there, right? So, and therefore you need also people who are educated enough to work in these jobs. You know, if you want to work for a bank in Jakarta, you need to speak English. I have friends who work for banks in Jakarta it doesn't matter, international banks or Indonesian banks, but my friends, they speak very well English. Yeah, they speak English very well. So yeah, you cannot just be some loser and apply for these jobs. You need to be qualified. So if you want to work for big banks, for big corporations, for international business in Jakarta, so there are plenty of educated women in Jakarta who speak English, yeah, and these are mostly the good girls, what I'm referring to in my videos also. And there's another aspect of these so-called good girls, good women, because these women who work for these let's say big corporations, big business, banks, hospitality industry, or even government, but not only these women, also in other sectors of the economy, these women are mostly busy. What I want to say is dating is not so much on their mind. Yeah, it's not, but it's not like they don't want to date. Yeah, these women are not just maybe on the dating sites, you know, because they are busy with their life, they have a job to take care of, they have their family to take care of, they're busy, they work long hours. I have another friend who told me that she really suffered from working for a big bank in Indonesia for many years, and she said it was just overtime and overtime and overtime, every day almost, even working on public holidays and on the weekends. And the pay was very good, but you know, at the end of the day she suffered and she stopped, she quit, and now she works as a teacher. She says she has way less salary, but now she's master of her time, you know. So these women are really busy in Jakarta working for, let's say, these big companies. And dating is not so much in the forefront of their minds, but that doesn't mean they are averse to dating, you know. So this is also a typical characteristic of so-called good women. So therefore, Jakarta, I find, is a big opposite to Bali. Yeah, because guys ask me, should I go to Jakarta? Should I go to Bali? I know Bali is very popular also in the minds of many newbies, because everybody talks about Bali already, has been talking about Bali for decades now, and this is the place. Bali is the place which is being associated with Indonesia. Also, unfortunately, I find, because when people think of Indonesia, especially the Western guys who never traveled to Asia, they only think of Bali, you know. Bali is just a tiny fraction of entire Indonesia, cannot be any other way. But you know, in Bali you have a lot of tourism. Yeah, Bali is the place with the highest tourism numbers still today, after so many, almost decades already. Yeah, and you have a lot of bully there, you know, white guys, white foreigners in general who travel to Bali. And certain women know that, certain Indonesian women know that. It's the same story like in Thailand, in Phuket, in Pattaya, you know, in the Philippines. The girls follow the money. They know these tourists, they have money, otherwise they would not be able to travel to Indonesia. And many guys also want fun, you know, so the girls follow the money. Therefore, you have very many freelancers also on Bali, bar girls and stuff like that, gold diggers, you know, dishonest women with an agenda. Yeah, of course, you also have these women in Jakarta. You have tons of freelancers in Jakarta, but you know, you have to look at the proportion. You know, what is Bali? how many people live in Bali or in certain areas in Bali like Kuta or Denpasar, where the nightlife is concentrated mostly. But you look at Jakarta, which also has a great nightlife, but Jakarta, I don't know how many millions of people are living in Jakarta. 10 million, 15 millions in the suburbs, I have no idea. It's a massive city, it's a huge city, it's a big city. So, still I'm hesitant to suggest Bali. I also have released a video about it. The title is something like Dating and Living in Bali, Yes or No. In that video I actually share my thoughts on Bali. And regular viewers of my videos know that I'm not so fond of Bali for several reasons. I just mentioned, I think the biggest one here when it comes to women. You have to be careful with women in Bali. They know what's going on there. They know many tourists are going there, so many women with an agenda also go to Bali, and these are not the good girls, you know. So, to conclude this video, I think Jakarta is a very interesting and valid option. It's really a great place for dating Indonesian women, and I told you in this video why I think it is the case. But now, before you jump on the plane and or buy a ticket and then jump on the plane, totally enthusiastic to travel to Jakarta to date the girls, just keep in mind you still need time and patience. Yeah, you cannot just arrive there, hook up with some chicks, and then have a good time. Yeah. I mentioned it so many times. Indonesia is a rather conservative country, and its culture is distinct, and the dating culture is conservative. We are in Asia, we are not in Hollywood or in some Hollywood movie here, you know. So if you want, depending on you, what you want. I mean, if you need a quick fix, you can also find that in Jakarta, you know. So, but you also can travel to Thailand or the Philippines, you know. But if you want to meet a good girl in Jakarta, then you need a little bit more time and patience also. And but I can assure you there are tons and tons of good, pretty, beautiful, smart and educated women in Jakarta. Maybe a secret tip, you know. And like I mentioned, the women complain. Yeah, maybe not really complaining, but the foreigners are definitely on the short side, you know. Not many women have access to foreigners, you know. It's really true, you know, when you walk down the streets in Jakarta, you can take a guess how many of these women even have talked to a foreigner during the past year or years, you know. It's not going to happen. So, but Indonesian women are open to meet foreigners. They are welcoming. So it's a great place, as I always have mentioned already in my videos, and you should also give it a try and go to Jakarta and try out the dating scene over there and see if it is something for you, and not just only go to Bali and think this is heaven on earth. There are many other places in Indonesia, and Jakarta is, I think, one of the best. So with that being said, I'm checking out for today. Thanks for watching. I hope I could clarify this a little bit and could answer this, you know. But if you have questions, of course, hit me up. Write your comments in the comment sections. What do you think about Jakarta? Do you agree with me, or do you say no, Jakarta it's a big mess and the girls, they suck. They're all gold diggers. It's not worth it. They're all arrogant bitches. You know, I hear also some guys who saying things like that. Oh, certainly you have arrogant women. There are also stuck-up women, you know, and women with an agenda, and big money is there, you know, so the social media, all that. Or certainly you have in Jakarta, but when you look at the general pool and at the general condition, then I think it's a valid option. Thanks for watching, and I'm gonna see you in one of my next videos. Take care. Bye-bye.